in this episode of American Giants.
Today we're in Hayward, California. We're at Bell Plastics, and Bruce Kennedy has collected 4 Muffler Men that are located here. He's got 2 bunions, a half-wit, and a cowboy.
Did you put the axe up? Yeah, I'll help him.
I probably have the largest collection of glass banks in the world, so why not Muffler Men?
50 years ago, a fiberglass company in Venice, California started making large fiberglass statues. Today, over 150 of these giants still dot the American landscape and have become known as Muffler Men. I'm Joel Baker, and there isn't any Muffler Man I won't go see. Finding them and telling their stories are my passion. Neto is my film crew, and Michael is our restoration expert. Join us as we search for American Giants. You can't just make a Muffler Man trip from one Muffler Man sighting. You need to kind of string them together. You find a few that you really want to go see, and you plan. You look at the map, you see how many you can line up in a single trip. But I always like to see at least 3 Muffler Men if I'm going on a trip, and much prefer 12 or 15. Neto and I both work for a television station, a television company, and we are privileged. Every few years we get to go to a huge event in Las Vegas called NAB, and it is mammoth. It's kind of the highlight of our year. We get to see all this cool TV stuff, cameras, audio gear, lighting, drones, you name it. And so I started putting 2 and 2 together and saying, let us extend our trip out to Las Vegas and make it into a Muffler Man trip on the back side of it. For those of you who follow Roadside America, you remember when Bruce Kennedy started collecting Muffler Men. We first heard about Big Mike in Hayward, that it had disappeared, and then it was revealed by the guys at Roadside America that Bruce Kennedy had it at Bell Plastics. And I don't know if any of you did this, but I started watching those Muffler Men trickle in. Bruce Kennedy gets another Muffler Man, he finds another one, and pretty soon Hayward, California was looking like a pretty good destination on the map. So we started to plan, and not only would we get to see Bruce's guys up in Hayward, I wanted to go see Flagstaff. Flagstaff is where it all started. That's where the first Muffler Man was delivered. And they liked it so much, and it was such a big hit, that they actually ordered a second Muffler Man. So 2 Muffler Men stood at the Lumberjack Cafe back in the 1960s, and both of those are still located in the town at the university. You got to keep in mind, this is the first one that was ever made. He didn't really come from the same mold. The mold was modified over the years at International Fiberglass after Bob sold it to them. So this guy had little bumps, creases, little things I noticed that were different than the ones that came after him. As I was still checking him out, Neto had gotten bored by this point already and had wandered off to try to find the second Muffler Man.
We get there, and it's really cool, but we know that there's 2 of them. And Joel knew that one of them was inside of the dome. We just saw some students going in, and we just look at each other and it's like, you want to go in? It's like, I don't know, man. And like, let's just try it. And we just went through the door and looked around. No one was there. And we kept on going in, and no one was there. We saw the guy down there. So we got really close to the guy inside, the other lumberjack inside. It was really cool.
I think right from the beginning I was interested in Texaco Big Friends. I knew that there was something really special about this unique story, how 300 giants were made for the Texaco company, and now like 3 were left. Pahrump is one of the few locations in America that still has a Big Friend. And at my first visit, it was standing at Valley Homes, I believe, on top of a tall sign. The place was long out of business, and the sign was kind of starting to fall apart. A few years later, I watched in horror as the news reports came in from Pahrump that it had been torn down and hauled off to the dump. But he was saved, and the landfill eventually donated him to the museum there in Pahrump. Neto and I just arrived at the Pahrump Valley Museum, and we are going to go check out the Texaco Big Friend. It is super rare to see one of these guys. All right, So we're here. This is the new home of the big friend, the former Valley giant. And as you can see, it's split apart here pretty bad. Unfortunately, this guy was not handled gently at all when they took him down at town at the site we were just at. But it's really neat to see him up close here. First of all, we've got the legs. We got one foot that's still here. Fortunately, they didn't destroy both feet, but only a piece of the second foot is left. So here we are with the right hand of the Texaco Big Friend. You don't get to see these up close and personal very often. This is the waving hand. So when he stood at a gas station, this hand right here would be the one that was up and was waving at the cars to greet them. This guy would take an enormous amount of restoration. But the good thing is he's here, you know. He was saved. Finally, after what seemed like hours of driving, Neto and I finally arrived at Bell Plastics, and this is kind of the the pinnacle of the trip. I was very excited to get there. As you pull up to Bell Plastics, you're immediately greeted by these colossal Muffler Men. Bruce has placed the former Boonville cowboy outside against the building, and there's more Muffler Men through the gate on the inside if you look in.
I saw a link to you on Roadside America. It gives you so much information about them and any little other area you'd like. And to see how many there were, I mean, I had seen quite a few of them, but I never expected there was 200 or 300 of them. They had the link to you, and I think you had 3 episodes at the time. And it was good to see other people like them. I mean, to me, it's just something normal that I can't understand why everybody doesn't want a Muffler Man.
Bruce, of course, knows Biggs Mike's story the very best, but this was not a Muffler Man that came very easy to him.
He's been there since he was purchased new in probably 1965, and the building was for sale a while back, so I bought the Muffler Man. People threw bottles at us, threatened us, demanded to know who we were and where we were taking it and what gave us the right, and they weren't at all happy. They got more phone calls about it at the newspaper, the local newspaper, than anything that they'd done in about 40 years. People were pretty upset. We had a friend do them in his spare time, and they spent about 7-8 months, sanding and filling it with new fiberglass and sanding it and more fiberglass and sanding, and then they painted it, they primed it, and they used marine paint on it, and they did a great job. And then we told the newspaper they were bringing it back, and it made the front page of the local section. Originally it had a pail and a big scrub brush, and those had disappeared over the years. And if anybody has them at home, it's okay to return them. That'd be really nice. Yeah.
We're going up. This is a Muffler Man right here.
With the help of Bruce's skylift, Neto and I really were able to get some great shots of these guys.
I'm used to use those like lifts, like a scissor lift, boom lift. Bruce had one of those. It was awesome because we got really close to the Muffler Man.
We started out with the Half-Wit, the Flint Half-Wit, I guess I could call it. This guy came from Flint, Michigan. Actually started out life in Kansas City, Missouri. And we know this because we've seen pictures of this guy in International Fiberglass advertising from the 1960s. He appears there at Poor Boy's Pantry. And then later in the 80s, we see the same Half-Wit in the same location with the Hawaiian shirt. and finally was sold probably in the late 80s to the Dort Mall in Flint, Michigan, and was hauled all the way up north.
We got Hollywood here. He was tired of the cold, so he took a tour of the country and showed up about a month later. And we're gonna probably fix him up next. Well, it was in the movie Semi-Pro, so he's our big Hollywood star. So we've been calling him Hollywood Half-Wit, Hollywood for short. And he will do autographs if you ask. We got the cowboy from Missouri, and he started out at a gas station and went from the gas station to somebody's backyard, pretty much. And then they were going to donate it to somebody, and they never could get it donated. So we went ahead and purchased it from them. When it came out, we went straight to a normal fiberglass repair place, and they fixed it all up for us. We were just totally shocked when it actually pulled up. They did a wonderful job. They highlighted everything. They faded the face in to where it looks like a person, as close as you could. They did the eyes, and they just went way beyond what I was expecting. Then we got the one from Paramount next. We got it and had it. We actually bought the Santa Claus off of eBay, and the truck driver that went down there called me up and said, they got this big statue with an axe and a beard, and he says, you might like that too. And so we got a deal going on it and had it shipped up with the Santa Claus. And it needs major work, but it was kind of nice that it had all kinds of toys with it. It came with an axe and a saw and a hammer, and it's going to require some major work.
One of the first things Bruce showed us was some of his molds and some of the other things he's made for his Muffler Men. Big Mike, he's got the standard bunion, beard, and knit cap and face and head that a Muffler Man would have, a bunion Muffler Man would have. But Bruce has made a Halloween kind of a skull with horns that goes on at Halloween, and he actually replaces Big Mike's head every year. In addition to that, he's got a couple other molds of Muffler Men that he's found and purchased. That way he can do more repairs. As Bruce collects them, a lot of his Muffler Men, actually all of them that he's got, have come in from far from pristine condition. So the first thing Bruce often does is to go ahead and restore and refurbish these guys. And molds are handy to have when you're dealing with old fiberglass from the 1960s.
Muffler Men today, they're 50 years old now. They're a few of them are painted up, but a lot of them are old and beat up.
His Muffler Men have come in, fortunately, with a lot of different items. We got a lot of enjoyment from watching Bruce walk across the parking lot of Bell Plastics holding this huge axe, and Neto really enjoyed helping him put that up on one of the bunions.
Talking there, Bruce just looked at us and was like, oh, you want to see the axe? He has a big, he's a lumberjack, so he has a huge axe. And I was like, well, that sounds like a good plan. Let's put that up and take some pictures. And he is walking with that thing, and it looks gigantic. I don't really care that much about any of the other little specific things about the Muffler Men, but to put the axe up, yeah, I'll help him.
They're fun to have around. People like them. And, it gives us something to talk about that's on business.
Just fixed it.
Once you get 3 or 4 going, it definitely changes people's how they see them. A lot of them always thought that there was only one, and they were kind of surprised to find out that there's more.
In trying to dig up the history on the Paramount bunion that Bruce has, I kept running into a postcard back from the 1960s of a place in Lawndale, California called Dal's Antiques. And in the postcard, you can clearly see a Paul Bunyan standing next to it there. Now, Lawndale, this is interesting. Lawndale is where Bob Pruitt lived. On Manhattan Beach Avenue is where most of the fiberglass animals that ended up being made by International Fiberglass, they started life here in Lawndale at Bob Pruitt's shop, Pruitt Fiberglass. And he is actually the one that made the first molds of these guys, and he sold many of them to International Fiberglass along with the Muffler Man mold years later. So Lawndale is kind of the birthplace for Muffler Men. And you know, I do not believe that the Lumberjack at the Lumberjack Cafe is the only one that Bob Pruitt made. He probably made 5 or 6 of these guys and sold them in the area before he sold that mold to International Fiberglass. Since our trip to visit him, Bruce has not stopped or slowed down in the least. Bruce has emailed me a few times letting me know of the different statues he's acquired since we've been gone, but he was able to obtain a statue that he calls Gas Guy, and this guy is very unique. It's not International Fiberglass. I've never seen another one like it, but it looks fabulous, and it stands right there along with the other Muffler Men. In addition to all the other things he's collected, he has a very rare Doggie diner head. This is something he got after our trip, but wasted no time in telling us about. These Doggie diner heads normally stood on a pole outside the Doggie diners, which was a 1960s era little fast food joint that was very common. I think there was one in Hayward actually, and this might be from that one. But these stores stood in San Francisco and the surrounding area. The more I research and study Muffler Men, the more episodes I put out on YouTube, the more people I meet, the more of you contact me and tell me your story. You know, when I hear stories of people building figures, you know, creating clay molds and building figures of Muffler Men, when I hear about people restoring Muffler Men, who see their value, you know, for the people that saved the Muffler Man, the big friend in Pahrump, and got him, you know, out of the landfill. When I hear these stories, when I meet people like Bruce Kennedy and see all he's doing to save these icons, American icons from the 60s, I am just so impressed and so thankful and happy that more Muffler Men are being taken care of, that they're being restored, that their historical value is being recognized. And I can't thank Bruce enough for all he's done, for the work he's continuing to do. You know, he's far from done. He's hunting probably every week for more things that he can restore, more things he can save, of course, more things he can add to his collection. But the good part is it's not in his garage at home. It's at his business. It's in the public eye. You can go down and see it for yourself and get to enjoy something that so many people did, possibly your grandparents, your relatives did back in the 60s. You can also enjoy that at Bell Plastics in Hayward, California.
I would like a couple more. I'm looking for an Indian or Indian chief. I mean, I'd really like to run into a Big John statue or a Big Friend. There's still a Uniroyal gal to find. But yeah, I wouldn't mind having a few more. I mean, we'll find a place to put them. Maybe mount one on the roof. Yeah. But yeah, I'd like a whole set, you know. Make it one stop and you come see them all. But yeah, they've been a lot of fun.
My name's Greg Holmes. I'm from Hutchinson, Kansas, recently renamed Smallville for a day in honor of Clark Kent. And I've always been interested in roadside architecture, roadside attention getters, including Muffler Men. And one day I had the chance to own a Muffler Man head, and so I did. I've done that before. It's not real comfortable.
Don't sneeze.
Funniest thing I've seen, actually.
Hey Sam, remember when you had plans of having a girlfriend?